Welcome folks to another video, and today's video, as you can see, is the MVP of each arc. Remember, hit the like, subscribe, notification button. Let's keep the channel growth going, guys. Okay, so the criteria for this video is going to be twofold. We're going to have the character who puts in the most work, and at the same time, they must be featured prominently within said arc. By judging who's going to be the MVP, I don't want to use any criteria that says the person who defeats the big bad, because every arc would just be Ichigo, or use the criteria that if you take said character out of the arc, then the arc completely fails or changes. Because, for example, if you take Mayuri out of the Arrancar arc, then Uryu and Renji dies, and Ichigo never gets out of Hueco Mundo because no one's there to open a Garganta. Same thing with Kisuke. If Kisuke is not around, Ichigo never even gets to Soul Society or Hueco Mundo in the later arcs. So that's not going to be the criteria. First up is the Substitute Soul Reaper arc, and our winner is Kisuke Urahara. Now, this one's close, believe it or not. I know everyone wants to say Rukia Kuchiki. She puts in tons of work. She guides Ichigo, she teaches him how to be a Soul Reaper, and she's there to support him every step of the way. On top of that, she gets everything started by being the person who kicks off the arc and the series. But I want to give it to Kisuke for a couple reasons. One, he's actually the one who's supporting Rukia behind the scenes. He gives her medicine, the gi guy. He shows up just after Fishbone D is defeated. He's always supporting Ichigo from the dark. He's kind of the wizard behind the curtain in this first arc, and despite not being prominent at the start, his presence grows throughout the arc until he's front and center right next to Ichigo once Rukia is gone. On top of that, the kind of work he puts in is crazy. He's the one who gets them to Soul Society in the first place. He's the one who heals Uryu and Ichigo after Byakuya and Renji take them out. He recognizes Chad and Orihime's full-bring powers. He trains Ichigo, gets him to unlock his own Soul Reaper powers, and gets him as strong as a lieutenant by the time he gets to Soul Society. Kisuke puts in work. Next up, we have the Soul Society arc, and I think the answer is obviously Ichigo Kurosaki. Now, I'm super tempted to put people like Yoruichi and Sosuke Aizen here. Although Yoruichi does basically babysit the whole gang and puts in a ton of work by herself in this arc, and she's featured throughout constantly. She saves Ichigo twice, flexes on Byakuya, takes Soifon's dangerous Shunko and Shikai off the board, and teaches Ichigo Bankai. It's really hard to beat her in this arc. Even Aizen, who has all these machinations going on and gets the Hogyoku at the end, I'm tempted to put him here, but Ichigo just does so much in this arc. He shows up to Soul Society, defeats Jidambo, learns the basics of Kido in just a couple hours, gets in, defeats Ikkaku, defeats Renji, and turns him to the good side, then draws with Kenpachi, defeats Byakuya, I'm sorry, I forgot something, and learns Bankai in 2 days. He puts in so much work. And he's featured, obviously, throughout the series. The series is about Ichigo. I think it's runaway, clearly Ichigo. And the craziest part is, he's basically dying 24/7, under threat of possession, and he's not trying to kill people. And next up for the Arrancar arc, we have Espada number 4, Ulquiorra Cipher. So, not gonna lie, at first I thought no way Ulquiorra could be MVP of an arc he died halfway through in, and while he did participate in the arc, all he did was take orders. But after considering how long the Arrancar arc is, and discussing it in the Discord, I became convinced. Originally, I had Yamamoto here, due to his FKT plan, Hueco Mundo support team, and putting Aizen and his forces on the back foot, basically by himself. But Ulquiorra executed Aizen's orders and plans to a T. He also stopped Grimmjow from getting himself killed by Shinji. He stopped Yami from also getting murked by Kisuke and Yoruichi. He successfully kidnapped, mentally trapped, and watched over Orihime. He put Ichigo on a t-shirt twice. He was prominently featured for half of the very long Arrancar arc, which can be subdivided into 5 different mini arcs. He also had everyone thinking he was the top dog, and he's the only one who has Segunda Etapa. Ulquiorra edges this section out because he may not have the most productivity of all the characters or the most spotlight, but he strikes a perfect balance of both, while others like Yamamoto put in a lot of work, or Uryu is featured a lot, but they only do well in one category. Now for the Lost Agent arc, we have Tsukishima. Tsukishima gets the MVP for this arc for the same reason that Ukiura got his. He played his role and did it better than anyone else. Tsukishima was working under Ginjo's plan, but he had to do it perfectly or it would end before it ever got started. Ginjo's plans hinge on Tsukishima's acting and Fullbring powers. Tsukishima has to play the villain and rile Ichigo up as much as possible, while also fighting Ichigo, Ginjo, and the rest of Execution without dying. He has to do this for ever how long it takes for Ichigo to regain Fullbring, while also staying off the Soul Society and Karakura Town fighters' radar. Then, after all this and successfully completing Ginjo's plan, he has to fight Byakuya, who is one of the most powerful and well-rounded captains in the Gotei. I think he's the runaway #1 choice, and I don't think it's close. Whoa boy, this section was difficult. So I initially had Mayuri here, but when I took a second glance around, I noticed that Kisuke and some of the others put in about the same work as he did for the War arc. For example, yes, Mayuri successfully revives Kensei and Rose by reversing Giselle's zombie blood, but he can only do it through Giselle's ability, and I'm not taking anything away from Mayuri. He does save Byakuya, Ikkaku, and Yumichika, but that's sort of ruined by the fact that Quincy would have joined the Gotei because of U-Haul later, and the only one of them to have any useful role after is Byakuya. He does beat Pernida, one of the 4 elite guard, but he was the least threatening of the 4. Not to say Pernida isn't an S-tier danger, but of the 5 strongest Quincy, he's 5. Then Kisuke essentially saves the Soul Reapers in the second invasion from being a repeat of the first by inventing the Holification Pill. He frees up Ichigo and collects useful data on the Quincy abilities. He assists in Ichigo traversing the realms and getting to the Soul King Palace. He takes out one of the most dangerous villains in the series in Askin, who up to this point defeated Ichigo, Grimmjow, Yoruichi, Chad, Orihime, and Yushiro. I could honestly nitpick each individual feat for every character and not get anywhere because removing anyone's contributions would spell the end for any side. Even taking out side characters like Yachiru Isane or Omaida could have significant changes. So I looked at the leaders of the respective sides, Jugum and Shunsui. We know Jugum cared for the Stern Reader because of the light novel, it tells us this, but I don't want to include that, just manga content. So with that, I'm going to have to say Shunsui is the MVP. It's honestly a coin flip between these two. Jugum keeps the dysfunctional Stern Reader together despite Yuha's sabotaging, and he executes Yuha's plan perfectly. Jugum even essentially makes it so that the Soul Reapers can defeat Yuha while remaining loyal to the Quincy and Yuha himself. Jugum is a complicated character, but because he killed his own side more than once, he gets a demerit, and I elevate Shunsui. Shunsui, on the other hand, while down an eye and losing his father figure and leader, was still able to gather together the shattered remnants of the Gotei and lead them through the war. While the new leader, he makes 2 of the most critical decisions in the entire series with a steeled heart. His great morality allowed him to make hard decisions, and that these hard decisions could be massive mistakes, but he knew the stakes and he played it well. He then proceeds to take out the leader of the elite guard, arguably the strongest Sternwitter and elite guardsman. He beat back Robert despite being severely injured earlier in the war. He brokered peace with the abandoned Quincy. He sacrificed his best friend and wasn't there in his final moments in order to ensure the future of Soul Society, and that the sacrifices of Yamamoto, Unohana, and Jushiro wouldn't be in vain. So Shunsui is the MVP of the 1,000-Year Blood War. Thank you guys for watching the video. I apologize about the audio quality. I was not home when I was recording this. A lot of things have been crazy lately. Like I said, I hope you enjoy it. Hit like, comment, subscribe. Y'all have a good day. Bye.